As a newly married couple in our mid-20s, my wife surprises me with concert tickets for Christmas. Naturally, I assume she wants us to go together, but to my dismay, she tells me she wants to take someone from work instead because he's apparently a huge fan of the band. She also mentions that he's gay, thinking it would ease any concerns I may have. Disappointed and hurt, I try not to start a fight about it. My wife goes to the concert with her colleague, and they wait outside near the band bus after the show ends. Suddenly, the bassist from the band approaches her and strikes up a conversation. My wife flirts back with him, making me feel even more upset and betrayed. He then asks if she'll be attending their New Year's Eve show, which is 200 miles away. She declines, claiming she can't afford it. But he offers to comp her tickets if she comes, and she confesses that she doesn't want to go alone. The bassist then suggests she bring her friend along as well. Our highly anticipated plans for New Year's Eve were quickly thrown into disarray, leaving me feeling frustrated and disappointed. My girlfriend had jokingly mentioned the possibility of having to sleep with the bassist for VIP tickets, but I didn't find it funny at all. Despite my reservations, she brushed off my concerns and made the decision to go to the concert without me. This was her favorite band, and I didn't want her to hold this over my head forever, so I reluctantly let her go on her own. As she embarked on the long drive to the venue, she kept me updated through sporadic texts. But once she arrived and got her hands on the coveted tickets, all communication from her went radio silent. I reached out again at midnight, only receiving a brief 3-word response in return. The next morning, I called her at 11:30 am, only to find out that she was already on her way back to her hotel via the subway station. It wasn't until 4:30 p.m. that she finally returned home, leaving me feeling even more frustrated and confused about how the night had played out. When I ask my wife about her night out, she confesses that they partied until the early hours of the morning. She reveals that she had taken prescription drugs and consumed copious amounts of alcohol. Frustrated, she mentions how she wasted money on a hotel room when she only slept in it for 2 hours. Confused, I asked how she ended up at a subway station by 11:30 am. Sheepishly, she admits that she never even used the hotel room, but instead must have slept in the band's suite. The following day, my wife emerges from the shower with freshly shaven pubic hair. Surprised, I inquired when she'd done it. Nonchalantly, she replies Friday. This revelation shocks me because my wife rarely shaves down there, and when she does, it's usually a special surprise for me. Before leaving for work, I stumble upon a package of Summer's Eve feminine wipes in her overnight bag. This strikes me as odd because I've always secretly thought my wife had an odor issue, but she has never made any effort to address it for me, and why would she have brand new wipes in her bag? I can't help but wonder if my wife is cheating on me. Could it be with the bassist or someone from work? Should I confront her about these suspicions? Edit. My hands are trembling as I type this. I'm in a state of panic, unsure of what to do in this messed up situation. There is a reason we decided to get married. Our shared love for music, gaming, nature, and other nerdy things brought us together. Some may say we spend too much time together, but the bond between us has always been strong. Though our sex life has cooled down, neither of us has felt unfulfilled. Just to clarify, my wife got the concert tickets as a Christmas present, but the actual concert was not on Christmas Day. The first show was on December 30th and the second on New Year's Eve. To avoid any chance of her finding this post, I won't mention the band by name. It's definitely not Nickelback and absolutely not Fish. She'll be home soon, and I can only hope for the best. Update number 1. Last night, I pulled her aside for a serious conversation. With great care and patience, I asked her to recount the events of the evening in detail. She had scored tickets that awaited them at will call. granting them access to the coveted VIP section at the concert. The open bar flowed freely until 2 a.m., when they were ushered into the luxurious band suite. And what's more, the hotel even provided her with comfortable pajamas, so she didn't have to wear her dress all night long. As she described it, the party was quite large and bustling. Not only did it include members of the headlining band, such as the bassist, guitarist, and cellist from the opening act, but also the entire road crew. However, amidst all the excitement and commotion, her friend from work seemed to constantly hover around her, becoming increasingly annoying as the night went on. Eventually, as fatigue set in and exhaustion took over, she found herself dozing off on the floor of the living room along with a dozen other people. It wasn't until her persistent coworker woke her up around 11 p.m. that they finally made their way to the subway. Curiosity gnawed at me as I observed my wife carefully shaving her legs in the bathroom. "Why do you shave?" I finally asked, unable to contain my curiosity any longer. She shrugged nonchalantly. "I don't know. What if I ended up going swimming?" The thought of my wife swimming was comical. Not only was she afraid of large bodies of water, but she also couldn't swim to save her life. I chuckled. "Do you even have a bathing suit?" Her response was a simple no. I shook my head, amused by her reasoning. But then a more serious thought crossed my mind. Would she really go swimming without me? My doubts were further confirmed when she mentioned the summer's eve cleansing cloths that I had noticed in our bathroom cabinet. She sheepishly admitted they were for feminine odor, bought during our last trip to Walmart on the day after Christmas. But if that was true, how could she have known she would be sleeping out without me on New Year's Eve? And why didn't she mention it to me? Desperate for answers, I asked her if there was anything else she hadn't told me about that night. With sincerity in her eyes, she looked me in the eyes and swore that there was no kissing, cuddling, or any kind of sexual contact with anyone else. Those exact words echoed through the air between us. But as much as I wanted to believe her, something still felt off. It wasn't until later, when I double-checked the package of cleansing cloths and saw that it was unopened, that I realized the truth. My wife had been lying to me all along. I poured my heart out to her, expressing how deeply hurt I was by the situation. I reminded her that as a married couple, we are obligated to support and include each other in our plans. But she was resistant, using exaggerated statements in our conversation, the most painful thing. She said to me was that if I had been able to attend the event, she wouldn't have enjoyed herself as much. It struck at the core of our relationship and shook my trust in her. Even though I'm still unsure if she cheated or not, it's possible she lied, and there's no way for me to know for sure. She's acting normal at home, but something feels off. I'm reaching out for advice before deciding on my next step, whether to confront her or try to salvage our marriage. Though some may just suggest leaving her, any other suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Update number 2. Last week, the tall, brooding bassist from a famous 90s rock band sent a sultry text to my wife, inviting her to a concert in a city 100 miles away on a weeknight. She was eager to go alone, and I couldn't help but bring up the events of New Year's Eve. The tension between us grew as she gave me the cold shoulder for 3 days. I went on a business trip over the weekend and made sure to keep in touch with her every day. When I returned, we spent Valentine's Day together, trying to rekindle our love, but something still felt off. Yesterday, I was browsing Reddit when an orange-red notification popped up. Curiosity got the best of me, and I clicked on it, only to realize that my wife had left herself signed into her account on my computer. My heart sank as I saw the contents of her messages. She had been sending seductive photos to other men. It wasn't necessarily shocking since we had discussed her posting on Gone Wild before, but what I didn't expect was her response to one particular question. What's the wildest thing you've ever done? Her reply hit me like a punch in the gut. On New Year's Eve, I had my first threesome with a member of that famous 90s rock band and a close friend. The betrayal and hurt were overwhelming as I continued reading through their explicit conversations. Feeling lost and betrayed, I immediately sought out a lawyer to discuss my options. After gathering the courage, I confronted her about the rumors I had heard. She responded with a half-hearted admission of truth, claiming she had only embellished the story. According to her, her friend was actually gay and she had only made out and performed oral sex with the bassist. The words stung like a slap in the face, and without another word, I left our shared apartment and headed straight for the hospital to get tested for sexually transmitted diseases. Hours later, I returned home, still reeling from her confession. Part of me wanted to believe her, but deep down I knew it was just another layer of lies. In a moment of desperation and disbelief, I instructed her to send a text to this mysterious guy, asking simply, did we have sex? If he responded with a no, then maybe there was some shred of hope left in our marriage. But instead, she admitted that they had indeed slept together. In an instant, my world came crashing down. We had only been married for less than a year, yet I had invested my entire being into this 5-year relationship. Feeling the weight of betrayal crush me, I moved into the spare bedroom and now sleep on a thin futon. Our lease extends until May, leaving me trapped in this living arrangement with someone who has broken my heart. I wanted to update Reddit on the situation, as I know people rarely do so after seeking advice. Thank you all for being there for me before when I needed support. Currently living in the South Jersey Philly area, any love or kind words would be greatly appreciated during this difficult time. Update number 3. The past 5 months had been a whirlwind of deception and deceit for her. 4 men, all different and all secretly involved with her in some capacity. The first was a co-worker, with whom she started exchanging explicit messages and suggestive photos back in October. Then there was the random stranger she met at a concert, whom she impulsively kissed. She ran into him again at a drive-in movie theater while out with a friend, where nothing supposedly happened aside from cuddling. But then there was the encounter at the gay club with her friends, where he took her from behind in a bathroom stall. After that night, he drunkenly texted her a month later, and they got into a fight, ultimately breaking off contact. One evening in mid-December, I arrived home from work at 6 p.m., knowing she had been done with her company Christmas party since 2 p.m. To my surprise, her pet bunny was roaming around the apartment freely. However, she was nowhere to be found. Her car sat in its usual spot in the parking lot, and her coat hung on a chair. Panic set in as I called her phone, which inexplicably rang from the couch. Fearing the worst, I called my mother and began frantically searching the apartment complex for any sign of her. My screams echoed through the empty corridors as I even checked dumpsters, terrified of what I might find. When she finally returned an hour and a half later, police were already inside my living room as I described her to them. Relief flooded over me as I embraced her tightly, tears streaming down my face. Little did I know that just moments earlier, she had been passionately making out with her co-worker in his car down the street, with one hand gripping his crotch. If it weren't for her menstrual cycle that night, their encounter would have likely ended with them having sex. Then there's New Year's Eve. The bassist in the band is into anal. When my wife and her gay friend went to his hotel room, he asked him to have sex with him anally. He did, while my wife was in the room, and then the guy kicked him out afterward. Later on, He had unprotected sex with my wife, possibly causing her to become pregnant. She took a morning after pill and experienced pregnancy scare when her period was late. Despite these events, she continued to communicate with this guy through text, email, and video chat. Eventually, she developed an emotional connection with a man she met on Reddit. They flirted through online messaging and made plans to meet and have sex while I was away on a business trip last weekend. A friend of mine suggested they do LSD together, but she ultimately chose not to meet the guy. Up until last Wednesday, she continued to flirt and chat with 3 of the 4 men. However, I only found out about the other 2 yesterday after I invaded her privacy and discovered numerous emails and chats involving these men. To ensure verification, I forwarded those emails to myself, as well as a photo of a t-shirt belonging to one of the men that my wife had brought into our home. Despite not being conclusive evidence, here is also a photo of my hospital bracelet from when I got screened for sexually transmitted diseases. I could never bring harm upon myself, but I can honestly say that I wish I was no longer alive. This pain is unbearable, and I wouldn't even wish it upon my worst enemy. I feel weak and completely drained. I can barely eat or sleep. The longing for her is still there, but at the same time, I am disgusted by her actions. I have told her to not even step into the same room as me until she gets tested for sexually transmitted diseases. In addition, she needs to email every member of her family and confess to everything she has done. Her family is close-knit, so this will likely be a source of shame for her for the rest of her life. Furthermore, I have made it clear that she must cut off all ties with everyone involved in this situation, including the 2 friends who enabled her, if she wants any chance of speaking to me again. But even then, it may be too late to salvage anything in this relationship. The cold, empty feeling of loneliness consumes me. I have friends who I've been leaning on, but their support feels hollow and insincere. I can't tell if they truly care for me or if they just enjoy my company. My confidence and self-esteem are shattered. I feel like no matter what I do, I am destined to be alone. The emotional neglect I have suffered in the past has left me ill-equipped for a new relationship, and the thought of being intimate with anyone again is unbearable. Edit. She cheated on me with a guy from work. It's over between us. I didn't make her write any letters or tell anyone. She made her own choices and now must face the consequences. I'm finally free from this toxic relationship and ready to move on. Is anyone up for grabbing a drink together? Edit 2. As I prepare for divorce, I will be taking down these posts soon. However, if my story can help someone else get out of a toxic relationship, then it was worth sharing. Update number 4. The past 7 months have been a roller coaster of emotions, with plenty of highs and lows, but I can confidently say that I am in a much better place now than I was before. However, I am still on the road to recovery, and that journey has its own challenges. I make it a priority to attend therapy 3 times a month, as it has been instrumental in my healing process, and to take care of my physical health, I have started running and working out regularly. The results are visible. From weighing 245 pounds in February, I now weigh 205 pounds this morning. It's not just about the number on the scale though. For the first time since high school, I feel good about my body and its strength. This transformation has also led me to revamp my wardrobe, a task that is both exciting and overwhelming. But as I try on new clothes and see how they fit my new shape, I can't help but feel more confident and comfortable in my skin. In addition to these personal changes, my social life has seen a significant improvement. My circle of friends has expanded greatly. The group I spent New Year's Eve with now meets every Tuesday for trivia night, and we've even taken trips to the beach together this spring and summer. My dedication to music has also grown. I practice with my band 3 times a week, and our newly released album is available free online. Beyond that, I have made an unexpected best friend through Reddit. We text every day and hang out multiple times a week, and when we go longer than 2 days without seeing each other, we both feel the absence deeply. Life may not be perfect yet, but it's definitely looking up. In the month of May, my mother and aunt invited me to join them on a transformative journey to Puerto Rico. Unlike traditional sightseeing or tourist activities, our purpose was to reconnect with our roots and visit family members who still reside on the island. As a person of Puerto Rican descent living in a predominantly white suburb, this trip became a life-changing experience for me. I was immersed in the vibrant culture and customs that shaped my heritage. Upon returning home, I felt a sense of calmness and newfound optimism for the future. However, one aspect of my life still required attention: my failing marriage. After much consideration, my ex-partner and I decided that the simplest and least expensive way to dissolve our union would be through irreconcilable differences. In order to fulfill the requirements set by my state, we must live in separate residences for a total of 18 months without engaging in sexual relations. 6 months have passed, leaving 12 more to endure until the legal process is complete. I eagerly await the day when she will no longer carry my last name, as it has become a source of shame due to her actions. Despite being separated, there are still many lies and secrets she continues to hide from me, making it difficult to move on completely from our past relationship. As the days passed, we discussed the possibility of taking a break and re-evaluating our relationship later on. But eventually, she reached out to me to meet in person a few months down the line. The tension was palpable as we sat across from each other, engaging in forced small talk before she finally revealed her true intentions. She had given up on us, stopped going to therapy, and was now dating one of the men she had betrayed me with, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of bittersweet relief for her. Part of me hoped that someday she would wake up and realize what we could have had together, while another part wished her all the happiness in the world with this new man. To distract myself from the pain of rejection, I turned to reckless sexual behavior. With the help of self-help books and advice from forums, I ventured into college parties with my newfound confidence and physique. I reconnected with old friends and went on dates with women ranging from 18 to 30 years old. But despite my efforts, nothing could fill the void inside me. I thought I wanted to relive my youth and explore my desires freely, but deep down, all I craved was love and acceptance. In the end, my attempts at casual encounters only left me feeling more lost and empty than ever before. As I reflect on my life, I realize that I am currently in a relationship with someone who makes me feel whole again. Our connection goes beyond surface-level attraction and delves into a deep understanding of each other's thoughts and emotions. Being with her ignites a flame in me that had long been extinguished by past heartbreaks. Despite living an hour away from each other, I see this as a positive aspect of our relationship. It allows us to maintain our individual independence while also cherishing the time we spend together. We make it a point to go out together a few times a week, constantly creating new memories. Will it last? Honestly, I have no idea, and I don't even care. This year has taught me the importance of living in the present moment and being responsible for my actions. As long as I am happy when I am with her, that is all that matters. I want to express my gratitude to all the supportive commenters on Reddit who offered valuable advice and even reached out to me on Facebook during my time of need. Though I may have been skeptical at first, the outpouring of compassion and empathy from strangers has truly warmed my heart. Through this experience, I have grown and evolved into a better version of myself. As we draw the curtains on this deeply personal and transformative journey, it's clear that the road to recovery, though fraught with challenges, is paved with growth and new beginnings. Throughout this narrative, we've traveled alongside the highs and lows, witnessing the power of resilience and the human spirit's capacity to adapt and thrive. Your engagement and support have been invaluable, enriching this story with the community's strength. This tale, though specific in its details, echoes the universal theme of overcoming adversity and finding renewal in the face of despair. As we conclude this episode, let's carry forward the lessons learned and the reminder that, no matter the obstacle, we are never alone in our struggles. Thank you for joining in this exploration of courage and healing. Be sure to subscribe for more stories that inspire and challenge us to look deeper into the human experience. Until next time, keep seeking understanding, extend compassion, and embrace the journey of life with all its unpredictability.